this is not, it has nothing to do really with Trump or Clinton, but I'm trying to understand the FBI. You got the Comey letter on Friday, which is actually befuddled Republicans and Democrats. Right. I mean, Republicans are going, dude, we don't know what you're doing. But all of a sudden now you have this FBI dormant Twitter account that hasn't tweeted,
over a year.
In a year. And all of a sudden, here are the papers of Bill Clinton's partner, Mark Rich. Okay, sure, Michael. I mean, is that weird?
Roland, I don't know what's going on with the FBI. And as you just stated, Republicans, Democrats have all agreed what Comey has done is something, though legally, but they've had rules that have stated within 60 days before an election, you don't release or comment or say anything because you don't want to influence where the election is going to go.
And they actually used that rationale this summer.
Right, they did. With Trump and his former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, as it pertains to his relationship with Russia. But for whatever reason, it appears that that's not being consistent as it relates to Hillary Clinton.
I mean, Amber, I had Republicans yesterday going, and then the FBI goes, well, you know, we release these whenever there's a Freedom of Information request, and it's done in a timely manner. And even Republicans were going, this is weird.
Even listening to that rail back of like the things that are just have been said across this election is heartbreaking. It's laughable that all of this is happening. Well, we haven't talked about, you mentioned earlier during this polling, we haven't talked about jobs. We haven't talked about the fact that enrollment is currently happening. Donald Trump now wants to roll back Obamacare as if that has not been a failed strategy of the Republican Party. I just can't wait for next week to come and go so that we can get back to talking about real things and not what this disgusting racist human being says under his breath and on TV.
Are you?
Obamacare is a problem, but I'll let CJ
Obamacare
respond.
isn't. It's helpful.
CJ, but when it comes to the FBI, I mean, this is confusing. It's because you're going. It's like first again the Comey letter on Friday, but now this Twitter account yesterday, just out of nowhere.
Well, it goes back to the fact that at the beginning of this investigation, there were no subpoenas. There was nothing under the customary processes that the FBI does when they do an investigation. So under those particular pretenses, everything flew out the window. And now you have 5 individuals who have immunity, and then one who's still on the payroll, who is now under FBI investigation, again, Uma. So now you have all of these things, and then Comey under oath said, look, if there is anything new that develops, I have the right to come back and notify. But whether we agree or not how he notified, there is internal strife within the FBI.
He should not have done that. No agency or agency head has a right to influence an election, and you would be naive to state to have a position that letter has not had some type of impact on the election. You shouldn't do that.
And it's just like, a letter of lynch. I mean,
be fair across the board, but you can't pick and choose. Comey doesn't have a right to do that.
He had a right to do what he felt he needed to do.
Republican fight.
But at the end of the day, was it fair for Bill Clinton in the middle of an investigation to meet with the Attorney General on the tarmac?
I'm not disagreeing with that point, but my point is he should not have sent that letter. It has been customary for the FBI to not release similar letters in the past because of the pretense of the impact that it can have on the election. You don't do that.
And he had the right, based on his testimony to Congress, that he would notify. Now, whether he should have done it and the fact that there was internal strife between he and the Attorney General on what the steps should have been, and he asked, should I stand down or you order me to stand down? He did not. Therefore, he moved forward.
But would you not agree that his letter to Congress did have some type of an implication on the election, and all polling data shows that? Would you not agree to that?
I agree that it does have an impact, and that was based on him informing.
So would you not further agree that he could have waited 7 or 8 days, CJ? What difference would 7 or 8 days have made?
What difference does it make? It makes right here and right now the fact that the people needed to be informed. He's damn if he do, and damn if he don't.
So then he should do the same thing as it pertains to Donald Trump's campaign and the people that are under investigation that have been a part of his campaign in the past. Would you not agree with that?
They just released and said that they were looking, that there was an inquiry under Paul Manafort.
Apply the standard consistently. That's my point. No, it has not been consistent.
It's been consistent.
No, it has not been consistent.
But you're telling me that an inquiry
I have great respect for the FBI. Okay, and I have great respect for Mr. Comey. However, it is quite clear, and even members of Congress have stated he has not been consistent in his approach to both candidates. He has not.
He has been consistent.
No, CJ, I have to disagree. He has not.
He has been consistent. At the end of the day,
when Manafort was chairman of Trump's campaign, the FBI was silent. They were mute, and I think they should have remained silent, and I think that should have applied also to Hillary Clinton. I don't agree with what's going on with the emails. I think it's quite clear that Hillary Clinton has a lot of issues that she should be quite transparent about, and that's one thing that we could debate. But the fact of the matter is that letter did have some level of implication on the election, and all polls indicate that.
He had a right to notify Congress.
I don't disagree with the fact that he had a right, but again, we have to keep in mind what implications could that have had on the election and the direction of the election.
And it goes back to, we never would be in this problem if she did not actually have an illegal server with classified information.
No,
and it goes
I'm not
back
going to disagree with that. I'm not going to disagree with that.
There we have it.
Amber, you can now speak.
You can now speak. I think the email thing is absurd. I don't know why we're still talking about it. I don't know why we're still talking about it. People don't care. If there was a smoking gun, we would have found it by now. And I think it's all just a distraction from being able to talk about the issues that we were able to dive into during the primary.
If people didn't care, the letter that, though I disagree with Comey releasing the letter, that letter would not have had an impact on the election. And if you look at every single poll, it is quite clear that Americans care, including Democrats, particularly independents. Absolutely.
We just had a poll that said that black folks definitely don't.
Black people are not the only people voting in the election.
That is true. But those are the I do realize that, but we're also the ones who are able to vote in overwhelmingly for a Democratic president because our issues align with that. So I do focus on black voters and talking about black and young voters because they tend to be aligned with issues that are important to me. So
Amber,
I do think it's worth it to talk about that.
No, I don't disagree with that, but to make the point that the emails have not had an impact is foolish. They have. There is no poll that you can find. There is no legitimate poll that you can find that states that the emails are not important. If they were not important, the letter that Comey released to members of Congress would not have had an impact at all.
We'll see.
You would not have seen battleground states that were leaning Hillary now toss up because of that letter. So yes, emails do matter to the average voter.
And to the African American community.
All right. Sir Michael has spoken.
Kickstart your day at 7 and get the news you need from the perspective you want. News 1 Now with Roland Martin. Every weekday morning at 7 on TV 1.